I think that, like most Torontonians, we went by the ROM almost every day, going from here to there, and we took it for granted. It was a kind of a large, dark presence on the corner, which we had visited once or twice years ago, and it had a great dignity to it, but a certain isolation to it, and it didn't feel at that age to be essential to you. You knew that the kids went there and the tourists went there, and occasionally you would go to a special event there. But I think back in the 90s, by the time we got into the 90s with various budget cuts they endured in the previous decade, the ROM had kind of settled back into the background, if you will, a little bit in Toronto and in Ontario. I was fortunate when I came here because they had been working on big ideas here. They realized that there was an opportunity to invest and change and bring the ROM back to the forefront. So one of the reasons I was glad to come here is because I knew they were prepared to think in large numbers and a large scope. The thing that was different in my approach was the nature of that plan. And I made a strong argument at the time of being interviewed for the job that this was one of the great museums of the world that had major collections, both in culture and in nature. Many of those collections were stranded in the vaults. Many of them had not been seen in public for 40 or 50 years. And my view was that rather than lose faith in that and become too populist, if you will, start with the collections and make sure that the collections are well represented in volume and by the nature of what we had in the vaults in really beautiful surroundings, both the heritage buildings and some new building we would build here. And then we could program on top of all of those collections, but start with the collections and the research, and then we can bring the programming and respect the heritage buildings which had fallen into disrepair and renovation, and then do something like a star turn on Bloor Street. Bring the museum's entrance right up to the main street and do something that no one could ignore.